Say Vamos energy. I did say, man, put me on the spot. I picked complexity.
I'm saying yes. I'm saying yes. Let's see it.
Under your belt. Do you have any final thoughts? Any final words?
I don't know. Thanks for the free money, I guess. Right?
Firstkiller is the 13th highest earning player of all time. He has some of the most insane mechanics and consistency in the RLCS. Known as one of the best players to ever play this game. But in his 5-year career, he has been unable to win a single RLCS major or LAN event ever. How has someone this good at this game go so long without a major or LAN win? Well, let's go back to the beginning to learn his journey. Firstkiller, like many other great players in the RLCS, would make a name for himself in the one scene. He would make his first Johnny Boy show match appearance when he was only 12 years old, back in September 22nd, 2017.
Killer. Always surprising how fast side flip shots are. Look at that recovery. This is really well done. Puts the ball behind Ty as well. This recovery is really well done off the wall. This is actually a half flip, believe it or not, is what that was. But are, you know, supporting their kids' interests in competitive Rocket League. Oh my word, what a shot by Firstkiller. End to end. Beautiful self-set double touch. Of course, he could have just taken a direct shot, but why not go for the self-set double touch just for fun, if you can. And
after his 3-1 victory over Ty, he would keep playing in more show matches and other small tournaments throughout the next couple years, but we'll see him make his first Rocket League LAN ever with DreamHack Dallas 2019. There is no VODs I could find of him and his team playing at this event, but they did manage to win one series but would finish the event 17th through 24th. The next LAN he would make would be at DreamHack Montreal later that year with his team Afterthought.
Hopper, not a great touch. Southview, the Firstkiller to tie the game, and he does.
Great effort here from Afterthought to be able to get this goal. You see the defense looking a little slow, but the infield pass from...
At the beginning of 2020, Firstkiller was signed with his first major RLCS team, Ghost Gaming. Then 9 days later, he would get transferred over to Rogue. So now at the start of RLCS Season 9, he would be on Rogue next to RLCS legend Kronovi, and also Wonder, who has made a name for himself the previous season. While this roster seemed promising, they would be less than stellar as the season went on. Their only notable win was against Cloud9 in Week 2 with the Game 5 overtime victory. Following the end of Season 9, Rocket League would have a spring series in the 4 regions that participated, and Rogue would have a new player be a stand-in for Wonder in the Open qualifier, and that would be Turinturo. After getting swept by G2 in the first round, Rogue would go on to make a crazy lower bracket run to get a 3rd place finish at the event. This would lead to Turinturo becoming a full-time player for the team during Season X. The RLCS Season X Fall Major would see Rogue make it in on points from the previous regionals, where they would make a top 8 once again before getting swept by G2 in the first round.
In our quarterfinals, all your hopes now rest on Alpine and the Peeps.
Following this event would see Kronovi leave Rogue, with Taroko coming in his place for the rest of the season. This move would see instant success as Rogue would go on to place 3rd, then 4th, then First would get his first regional win with the sweep over NRG at the Winter Event 3. Season X in a Winter Major, Rogue would once again go to the Grand Finals, but they would lose 4-2 to NRG.
North American Winter Split Major champions.
Justin sticks that one, and look at him take it away from...
The Spring Major rolls around and we see Rogue lose in the semifinals to NRG, who went on to win the Major again. The RLCS Season X North American Championship comes after. Rogue went on to do what they did best during these times and would lose 2-0 to G2 in the lower bracket semifinal. After the season was over, First needed a change, and a change he got. On September 3rd, 2021, First would join his best team yet, FaZe Clan. His new teammates were Lucian and AJ. We would finally get our first in-person LAN event with the RLCS 21-22 Fall Split Major. FaZe would steamroll past their opponents in the Swiss stage, even beating out what many considered the best European team in the past year and a half of BDS to make it out 3-0. In FaZe Clan style, they would lose in the semifinals to NRG, leaving them with a 3rd and 4th place finish. With the trade window open, FaZe would bring in Sypical for Illusion. FaZe Clan would pretty easily make it into the winner split major. Now, they would make it out of the group stage, but with some damage.
And you saw a look of shock.
They would get past their first round against Endpoint, and then would also get past BDS.
Firstkiller's in the air all by himself.
Their next matchup was against V1, who they got swept by in the group stage. This went on to a Game 7 overtime.
And he does. Where's the shot? Coming up high. Torment barely gets the touch out. The rebound. The pass in front. Oh! They move on.
They would lose in the lower semifinals to get another 4th place finish. Now, let's see how they did at the Spring Split Major.
Finally, mercifully, the final few seconds will burn off the clock, and the Falcons will
Save by King Kong. Up again. They're up. No time left. Bolt of Furia. They have done it. They've taken down.
They would get an abysmal 9th through 12th finish. Well, the next event would be Gamers 8 before the World Championship. They would manage to get out of the group stage. Granted, it was in the lower bracket, but nonetheless, they did. And what would be FaZe Clan's chance to make it to their first LAN finals ever, all they had to do was get past Guild Esports.
We've more than surpassed that 1 minute mark, approaching a minute and a half now. See, demoing Firstkiller! It whips right, and then grand finals for Guild Esports!
The comeback in the 1v1 deletes Firstkiller from the...
You have witnessed FaZe Clan get their 3rd semifinal LAN loss this year. First would make his first ever World Championship this year, and would be placed straight into the group stage. They would steamroll past their opponents to make it out in the upper bracket. They would have to face fellow North Americans again in version 1. In a remake of the Winter Split Major, these two teams would make it a Game 7 decider.
The ball and Tom, big miss. Typical put it so to the back line. And Firstkiller gets a doink himself under the defender. FaZe Clan up 1.
How have doinks been so disastrously devastating this series so far? He lands, he sends it in, just getting that little skip.
Feel like an eternity. Can they manage it? Not quite yet. Here is going in the corner. It's dangerous. Firstkiller has to avoid the fight and does. FaZe Clan are your first semi-finalists. They've made it through. It's gone all the way.
With them moving past V1, they would have to face G2.
down, counting FaZe out of the World Championship, and they get one more, a late Christmas gift with only 4 seconds left.
The pressure, just too much for FaZe Clan.
G2.
They literally made
This is now their 4th time being in 3rd and 4th place this year.
3 seconds, 2, 1.
With the end of the season, it would be out with AJ and in with Mist. They would then go on to make the Fall Split Major.
Archie being able to have that read. He's not necessarily last back. Firstkiller though with the double. Firstkiller. Oh my God!
He is him. What in the world? How does he stay with this and get the dunk?
More time off the clock. Mist looking for the double. And Mist puts his foot down.
Ball game. That's all you can say. Missed, called, game.
That is right, a Game 7 victory in the quarterfinals to then lose in the semis to get another 3rd, 4th place finish. Something was in the air for this major. FaZe knew they had a shot this time around. They would top their group, leaving them a spot in the quarterfinals. They didn't even need a Game 7 for beating the fall major champions of Gen G to make a place that, honestly, they can call home at this point the semifinals. They would meet the South American North American team of Complexity. They would make it to Game 7. This is unknown territory for FaZe. They have never had a chance to make a LANs finals before, and this is the closest that they have ever gotten.
Gets back to the top. Oh, quick counterattack. And there it is. Firstkiller scores. The lights are on, but nobody's home. Wide open. Complexity. Fall forward. Still scoreless. There it is. Never goal. Insurance granted for FaZe Clan. Raise ball up in the air.
You feel like they have to score on this drive,
And it's typical. The third. And what feels like final goal. Typical. First typical. Threads the needle through the defense.
side getting offensive.
FaZe Clan break the curse.
That is right, everyone. They have finally done it. The impossible has happened, and FaZe are on to their first ever LAN finals. They would of course meet none other than the Blue Wall of Carmine Corp. FaZe would lose the first. They would comfortably take the second and third matches, moving them up to 2-1 in the series. The next game is just total domination from K Corp, and FaZe have no answer. They would lose the final two matches, losing the series 4-2. They wouldn't even make the spring split major, losing a tiebreaker to Gen G. That's alright though, they still made the World Championship this year. They were made quick work though, with FaZe not even winning a single series, losing to Space Station and Moist, leaving them with a 13th through 16th finish. I guess they also had Gamers 8 after this? Lord, they got 13th through 16th again. Well, at least they are consistent. Following this, FaZe would disband and first would join on a team that is supposed to win. Gen G. With apparently Jack and Chronic, this team would compete with G2 for the top of North America. The only time Gen G lost in the first three splits were against G2. They easily made it to the first major of the 2024 season. They managed to make it out of the group stage, and their quarterfinal matchup was Gentlemates. They for some reason made it out 3-0, but let's be honest, they aren't going to win, right? Well, you see here, they would win it all despite them not being the favorites to win any of their matches. After this, Gen G would start their descent from the top of North America. At the second major, they would get eliminated at the quarterfinals. Now with the break between the second major and the World Championship, we would have the Esports World Cup. They would end up getting a third and fourth place finish here. The World Championship rolls around in the longest wait I have ever felt in my life, and Gen G showed that they can win. They get upset in the first round of Swiss to Power, but hey, that is alright. They have Limitless in round 2, and they make quick work of them with the dominant sweep. Round 3, they face a familiar foe, the European powerhouse BDS. They would go on to lose 3-1, but that's alright though. We just have to get through the OCE second seed to make it to round 5 and what should be an easy matchup. Wait, they blew a 2-1 lead and lost in game 5? Well, at least we have G2 to go on and win our first World Championship in 5 years. And with that, Gen G would officially release their roster, leaving First on the hunt for a new team once again. Now we are on to the current year, and First and Chronic would pick up LJ and then get signed by Team Ultimates, and honestly, that is a pretty sick graphic. The Birmingham Major comes, and they proceed to have only one loss in the Swiss stage, and that was of course to NRG. This would put them in upper bracket quarterfinals against Vitality. they would proceed to win 4-2, putting them straight into the semifinals. Their opponent will be their rivals of NRG. The NRG just came off a Game 7 victory over the Falcons in a series that really could have gone either way. Game 7 is here once again.
No excuses, 5 minutes. Get around one, he goes to fake beast mode. All of NRG front post, their low boost. Firstkiller, can he get one?
In the most dramatic fashion, Ultimates would finally score the first goal of the game with 14 seconds left on the clock, which will lead to them winning the series over NRG. Now First has to face an opponent that he is oh so familiar with in the Grand Finals, K-Corp. The last time he made it to the Grand Finals on LAN, he would have to face them, and now he has his chance to get revenge. And they would go on to get swept 4-0. And with that, we're all caught up in the journey of Firstkiller and RLCS. His resume so far for majors and LANs are 3 Grand Finals, 4 5th through 8th, and a staggering 5 3rd and 4th place finishes. Firstkiller has proven to be one of the best players to ever touch this game, but will he go down in the history books of Rocket League as the best player to never win a major? I guess time will only tell in the story.